Hi guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and the last topic for today is a video I watched by Oprah Winfrey, and it was about surrendering and letting go. And I felt that this is a topic that is not really talked about that often, and it's one of the hugest obstacles we have as people in general. I don't like as feelers, very much so, but just understanding how to really surrender and let go of things that are not meant to be. And it's you have a goal you want to accomplish, as in you want to make a person understand that you're a good person. We've done this millions of times, I feel, and there's always some kind of secret to love, as in we want to not the secret, but as a we want to solve the mystery of love. We want to and love not just in a romantic way, but just people recognizing who we are and thinking that we're good and so on. And a lot of this has to do with our childhood and the people we've been surrounded with, but it's in a lot of ways something that is keeping us from actually moving on. As for example, as a kid, if you've had situations where you felt you couldn't really put all your emotions out, you made yourself rather small, because as INFJs we absorb other people's emotions, right? So we have kind of unconsciously learned that since we absorb their feelings anyways, we're gonna do everything to make them feel good, so the emotions we absorb are better. And so we never learn to set boundaries in that way. And this is where I'm in when we go too far into that. And so we have this kind of plan, and we have this imagination, and we feel like we have to do this. We have to really win this to prove to ourselves that we're capable. And it can be on the one hand with situations like this, which in a lot of ways are about life and death. And when I say life and death, I mean situations which actually really affect you on such a deep level, on such a personal level. It's so important to you for specific people to view you a certain way, because you've given them so much power over you, you've idealized them and so on, that if you can't really get them to think you're a good person, then you're gonna feel like a failure. And it happens. I've gotten a situation like this, and the other person had a situation where they felt I have to consider them as strong. If I don't consider them as strong, then then they are not strong. That's how they viewed it, and this is how I viewed it. I said, if that person doesn't see me as a good and loving and lovable person, I'm not lovable. So it's really hard in situations like this to really give up and let go. But it is also one of the best things you can do is to surrender, because up to that point you've thought you have to be a certain way in order to be liked, to be loved, to have a way of life, and to be lovable. And sometimes you just have to understand that there's so much more. There are so many ways of living which seem so out of touch for us, and which seem not life worthy. There's we hold on to these ideas about how life should be, and when something comes our way that gives us a feeling, okay, this doesn't feel good, this feels weird, this is not how it's supposed to be, why do I feel this bad, why does this person think I'm a bad person, why does this happen? Every time you get in a situation like this, you really feel like this. You feel like, why do they not like me? Why did I'm a bad person. I'm heartless. I'm, all those things which are just your kind of understanding. Once you feel that, you have to understand that you have to surrender and let go. And I'll get into specific, but in a lot of ways there's a question, what does surrender mean? As in, surrendering means that you accept what is and what can't be, and that you let it go, that you really like kind of understand that in that area you failed. But just because you failed in that one regard, in that one area, in that specific way, doesn't make you a failure. And actually, failing is not a step backwards, it's a step forward, because you get to know yourself more. Because you know, okay, this is one area where I'm not going to find my happiness. And you learn more about yourself and so on. And a lot of times we hold on to something so tightly, thinking this is the only thing that's going to make us happy and who we are. And very often something really bad happens where we just don't have the strength anymore. And this can be in different ways. Like, for example, as I said, I had this feeling of always having all my needs met through just conquering my internal world. And that meant for me back then that I need to have good intentions and I need to put others first. So when I got to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore, like I was just so miserable. I tried to do everything for that person and they just like were selfish and so on, which, you know, they had problems themselves, but I was so miserable. Then I thought, okay, so then I have to show my ugly side. That's what I thought. My ugly side, I have to be selfish. I have to be selfish. I have to think about myself. I have to make the other person, that person that have shamed me or that made me feel bad, I have to make them feel bad in return for them to stop and so on. I have to go external. And this is also a way of surrendering, because there's strength in keeping on this goody-goody facade, or this, I'm gonna always think of you, I'm always gonna take care of you, I'm always gonna be nice and so on. This is also something like an idealization of ourselves. This is who we want to be. This is what we think is love worthy. This is how we've learned to be good people, and it takes a lot of strength to surrender to the idea that we're not like that. Part of us is selfish, part of us is proud, part of us is just forgetful and just all those things. Like, yeah, part of us is angry. Like, I think the worst thing about everything is that I was pushing my anger away. I wanted to be loving and to have like a love all around, and being angry towards somebody was just not an option. So it kind of takes a lot of guts, or in my case, like, I didn't have the guts back then. I did, but I didn't have any other choice. So I needed to put my anger out there and really affect people in that regard, just because I couldn't take it anymore. I was taking so much of their pain on, and so many of those things, I couldn't do it anymore. And very often it's those things when you feel like, okay, I can't do it anymore, that you kind of let it go. And now I look at the world, look at my life, and everything is different. My world has changed. My worldview has changed. My goals have changed. My level of happiness is so much higher and so on. And it all happened because I let go of this idea of this is what has to happen. We might have a plan, but we don't know what's gonna, how it's gonna be in the long run. And, I don't know who said it, but you've heard this probably before, that you can't connect the dots going forward. You can only connect them looking backwards, and you have to kind of go and fail, sometimes really dramatically and hugely in one specific area, so you can really, understand, okay, this is not the area where I need to go, and I need to go somewhere else. And then you know so much more of who you are and who you don't want to be, that you kind of get specific about it. I watched this video of Will Smith, and I think he's an ENFJ, and he was talking about, the secret to success and so on, and he said that you kind of, in order to be successful as in finding happiness in life, you have to be really specific. You can't like be all over the place and do thousands of things, and because it takes so much dedication. And I've realized that this doesn't mean that you can't do sports and do paintings and do this and do that, because I personally have thousands of things like this and I don't want to give up any of it. But since I know who I am, I'm not picking up of everybody's emotion. I'm not picking up of everybody's worldview, because I know for me to be my best, I can't go in that specific direction, because I've gone there and I've surrendered. I've let go. I know this is not for me. And this can be very, very painful because you saw your whole life in that area. But once you do that, you do get more specific. You do get more specific about what you want out of life, how you want to feel, and how much you're going to really take in from other people. That doesn't mean that you get isolated. Actually, it helps you to connect with people better, because your boundaries get much more set. So in this regard, you do get a more specific way and a more narrow way, and then you can really concentrate and put all your energy in that one place. But in order to do this, you have to understand when you come in situations, okay, maybe this is not the way. There are possibilities for you to change. That we have this understanding of this is who we are, and this is who we're gonna be for the rest of our lives. And I'm not gonna change anything. But at the same time, you're unhappy. So you have to change something. And you can still be that beautiful person and that wonderful person, and you'll be that specifically because you learn to love yourself. And by learning to love yourself, you learn to, which means is, leaving stuff out that makes you miserable. You don't have to prove to anybody that you can take so much pain. It doesn't help anybody. When you see it doesn't do anything for you. Yes, you can do stuff for other people, but you always have to do, you have to be your best friend first and foremost, because if you don't have a strong base, you can't help anybody. If you're miserable, you're so drowning in your own pain, and you're so holding on to this one thing you don't want to surrender and let go, that you can't help anybody. You're just, you just think about this one thing. So this is something we have to learn, and I really pray and hope that when you get in situations like this is one more motivation for you to just kind of like let it go. Understand that there are gonna be better things out there. Just because you know yourself better, you know what you want, you know who you are, and you can create much more in that new world. Because remember, if you're in a situation where you want something really bad but you're not happy and it doesn't happen, then this is not the best solution for you. And by changing, you don't change for other people, you change for yourself. And you change because you love yourself and because you want yourself to feel better. And then you understand and allow yourself that, yes, I have to change. It's okay for me to change. It's okay for me to become something which I maybe earlier said is weak. And now I understand, I can view it from a different point, because yes, I'm not that strong as I thought. Because we kind of tend to think that we're invincible, especially in our first function. We feel like there's nothing that can stop us, but yeah, there is, because we might be very strong in that first function, but if you go too much into your internal world, your FI gets much more evoked, your SI gets much more evoked, and those are things you have no real control over, and you get really miserable when this happens. So you have to let go from time to time and understand it's okay and it's necessary, and it doesn't make you weak. Failure is always a step forward. It's not, there are people who never change anything, who don't want to grow, and they've already lost. But once you go there and you understand, okay, I wanted this was like, I've been in a situation and I really like this guy, and I wanted him to view me as a good person. Like, I didn't even care so much for him to like that we're together or anything. I just wanted him to view me as good, because he, like, for the way he saw the world and how his personal problems were, he couldn't see anything good about me. He just saw me as dangerous and to stay away from me. So I don't think I ever wanted anything more in life than for that person to view me as good. I didn't think there was. And I had to learn that, yes, you have to even let go of things like this. And once you surrender, everything falls into place. Because then you see, okay, if I surrendered this, what is really actually I could do that's gonna make me happy, that is just good for me at one point, that I can do, that, you know, that you kind of have like as a backup plan, but you never feel like you're allowed to do that because you have to care about others and so on. So once you understand and you surrender that you can't have that one thing, and then you should really do something that you know it's gonna make you happy, you know that you're good at, yeah, everything falls into place. So this is just like something to remember. Sometimes it really just helps to listen to stuff like this, to really get a mindset for it. And life can be a beautiful journey, and yeah, I want us all to share it and just kind of like spread the world and spread the word, and then be happy about it. And we have to understand that there are things that are really meant to have been in that specific place at that specific time, but they're not meant to be forever. Okay, so thank you for listening. I wish you all a wonderful week, and yeah, I talk to you soon. Bye.